Hey guys, welcome back to Clubhouse Kids. Today's video, I'm going to show you how I do a toddler circle time in my home daycare. So I do 2 circle times a day. We do a morning circle time to start our day, and then we always do a PM circle time about 20 to 30 minutes before our pickup time. So for my group, that means that our PM circle time is at 4 o'clock because most of my kids are picked up by 4:30. So to do our toddler circle time, I basically do the same thing every single day, and I actually just have a little circle time schedule that I just go by. The thing with toddlers is your circle time is going to be very fast. So circle time is usually 5 to 6 minutes. Sometimes it can be a little bit longer if the kids are really engaged. Now, this year I do have a multi-age classroom. So I have toddlers and I have preschoolers. So if you have a multi-age classroom as well, the way I'm doing it this year is I do the toddler circle time portion first, and then my toddlers are actually just allowed to go play, and then I do the rest of the circle time with the preschoolers because my preschool circle time is longer than 6 minutes. So with my preschoolers, we usually do circle time anywhere between 10 and 20 minutes depending on the day or what we are talking about. But my little ones, obviously, they are not going to sit that long, nor should they sit that long. But I am a big component of working on toddlers to sit for at least 3 to 5 minutes for a circle time. I think it's very important to stretch out their attention span, and I've been doing this for 14 years, and I have had maybe 1 or 2 students within those 14 years that really struggled with sitting for circle time. So I do not allow my toddlers to get up and walk around during their part of circle time. We really do work on having them sit, and then they can go off and play. So when I'm training my toddlers for circle time, I will usually have them in a chair that they can't get out of. So like a high chair, a booster seat, or something like that. And then they graduate to either a chair or a foam circle on the floor or something like that. But I do not let them free roam around the classroom during the circle time. So to start our day, we always have a good morning song. And our good morning song is to the tune of Happy Birthday. And we just say, good morning to you, good morning to you. Good morning, dear friends. Good morning to you. And it's a super easy song to learn. All the kids have this song down within a week or 2, and it's just a really good way to just kind of start your circle time. It's gonna trigger like it's time for them to sit. And so every single circle time, we always do that. And the next thing we do is our attendance. So the way I do attendance is also through a song. And on my circle time board, I have who's here today. It's a little, says who's here today. And then I have a house here that sits over in the corner of that. And then I have all of my students' pictures with their name on the bottom. And so what I will do is I will hold up their picture and I will say, Jane is here today. Jane is here today. Let's all clap our hands and say hip, hip, hooray. And this is very important to look at the child while you're singing their song. So if I'm singing to her, I am making eye contact with her. I'm smiling at her. I'm waving at her. I'm really making her feel special, like she is here today. And I am so glad that you came to school today. And then her card would go right here. And so all throughout the day, the kids can see which friends are at school today. But then if I have a friend that is not at school, I'll say, is so-and-so here today? And they'll be like, no, they're home today. So then their card goes behind the house. So we say they're home today. And so that is kind of how we take attendance. The kids love that song. In March of last year, when my daycare was shut down due to COVID, one of the things that I did was I went on YouTube and I did a open circle time. So more children that were not in my program got to participate in my circle times. But the feedback I got from my current families is that my students were really missing me sing their name to them, like say like good morning to that person. And so it's just so important. The kids love it. It's an easy way to just bond with your students. It's an easy way to make new students feel special in your program. especially with the little baby or the toddlers. You want to make eye contact with them, smile at them so that they can start to feel more comfortable in your homes or your daycares. And so that eye contact and that smiling at them, this is just one way that you can do that. So after we do our attendance, we go to weather. And the current classroom that I'm in doesn't have the best window that we can see out of. And so usually we'll talk about like when you were coming to Miss Holly's house today, what was the weather? But my classroom before had a really good, just a door that looked right outside. And then my classroom that I will be moving into this spring has a lot of windows that will be able to look straight out. So if you have a window in your classroom, utilize it for weather, have the kids look outside. You can have a weather watcher. Sometimes I pick somebody, sometimes we just look as a group, like what's the weather outside today, and then bring it in, you know, what the weather was when you were coming to your home or coming to school or your classroom today. You know, did you wear a hat? Did you have to wear a coat? You know, using those weather related words. And so once we decide on what the weather is, we will sing a weather related song. And so if it's windy, I hold up the windy poster and we sing a windy song. If it's sunny out, I hold up a sunny poster and we sing our sunny song. If it's cloudy, you know, we sing our cloudy song. And I think the other one, last time we had school, it had snowed. And so if it's snowing out, we sing our snowy song. Now, these are seasonal, and so I do have 4 different songs and 4 different posters that go with each of the seasons. So these are our winter posters, and then after we would sing our weather song, it goes up onto our weather board so that they can see what the weather is every day. Then we go through our learning goals for the month. So the month of January, we are learning about the color white. We are learning about the shape circle, and then we are counting to 10. And so what I do is say, what color are we learning about this month? And they'll all say white, and then I'll point up here to our white crayon, and then we go through our flashcards. And how I do it is I say white bunny, white snowman, white glue, white eggs, white tooth, white milk, white polar bear, and white marshmallow. And as we go more into the month, the kids will start saying them with me. Sometimes I'll pull out one and we'll talk about it, but we are always, when I'm using these flashcards, talking about the color white or whatever color we are learning about for the month. And then over here, I have our counting numbers. Now this year I have some older toddlers, so I do have numbers 1 through 10. But in the past years, I've had numbers 1 through 5. I've had other years that I have a part of the year that my group is very young. I'm talking like 6 months to 14 months or something like that. And then those years, for that little part, I only had numbers 1 through 3. So really only work on the numbers that is appropriate for your group. Since this is my toddler portion time, my preschoolers are listening, but we are going to get more into the numbers with my preschoolers. We usually count up to the date or whatever using our calendar, but during the toddler time with counting, I really only pick out the numbers that are working for them. Since my group right now is a little bit older, they are working on counting to number 10. And so this month for January, we're counting penguins. And so I just point to the cards and we count to 10. So we'd say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I say, good counting. Now I do have some subsidizing cards up here. When they do get closer to 2, or even if you have toddlers that go from 2 to 3, these also have penguins on them. And I would just hold one up and we'd quickly say 2, 4, 5. And with my toddlers, I would not go over number 5 with subsidizing cards. So I keep these right up here. We don't do those every day, but I'd say probably, a couple times a week. If they are having a really good attention span day, I'll grab those and we'll just quickly do, 2 or 3 of those subsidizing cards. And then the last thing that we do for our focus time is we talk about our shape of the month. And this month we're talking about circle. And they love, when I talk about circle, is they get to pick out their favorite circle on the poster. And so I'll say, what shape are we learning about? And they say circle. And then I just hold the card out to them and they get to point to which circle is their favorite. And they just love doing that. And so I think I started doing that a couple years ago, and I just do it now every time we talk about the shape. And then that's basically the end of our morning circle time. Now, if the kids are really engaged and they seem to be able to handle a book, we sometimes go into a book and I will read them a book before they go off and play. Other times I can tell like they're just getting restless and we just call it and they go off and play, and I'll read a book to them before nap time. Or another time that I really like to read stories to the kids is when they first wake up from nap, because they still just a little bit tired, and they'll usually sit pretty good for a book, especially if you have picked a longer book. With toddlers, I do try to stick with books that are short, but with a multi-age group, especially this year with my preschoolers, we will read stories that are a little bit longer. So on those days, I'll usually read the story to them, right after nap time. So books kind of depend on the day. Sometimes we read a book during circle time. Other times, we do it during a different part of our day. And right next to our circle time is a little gate right here, and then in there is a shelf with some toddler toys. So my toddlers will just go in there and play. I try not to keep toys that make a lot of noise in there, so that they can play quietly in there while I finish circle time with my preschoolers. And so once the toddlers go off and play, the preschoolers and I will do more math skills. We'll go over what letter we're talking about that week. And if we didn't read a story during the toddler time, I will usually read a story to them. Now, there are some times I have one toddler that really does love circle time. Sometimes he will just stay and sit and finish up circle time with the preschoolers. That's totally fine. It's just optional at that point, since I did talk about how I do work on that attention span with them. But the toddlers don't usually sit longer than 5 minutes unless they absolutely want to, because he actually chooses sometimes, and he'll make it through the whole circle time and he's engaged the whole time and having a blast. But I also like having this little play area next to us, because then they can play, but a lot of the time they usually just stand at the gate and watch me finish circle time anyway. And so it's a great spot to just have it next to it. It's not super distracting for my preschoolers, because there's really nothing in there that the preschoolers are like, I really want to play with that toy. We have a lot more fun toys in our centers, or their preschool table toys and whatnot. So that is what's working for us this year. When I had just the toddler age, I didn't have any of the preschool circle time components we did, so we would just finish up circle time. And, I think at that point we went on to table toys after that. And so my toddlers play, I finish up circle time with my preschoolers, and then my preschoolers at that point go into their math buckets. And then my toddlers, if they are kind of done playing in that area, will usually go and do some of their table toys while the preschoolers are doing their math buckets. But if they're playing nicely and they seem to be doing okay, playing with their shelf toys, then we just kind of continue that, because we always have plenty of time throughout the day to get to their other things that I had planned for them. So that is how I do a morning circle time with my toddlers. And then at the end of our day, after nap time, after we've read our stories, after they've played a little bit longer, we will kind of wrap up our day and do a PM circle time. Just like when I open up my morning circle time with a welcome song, we sing a goodbye song. And so it just kind of triggers that it's time. It's towards the end of our day. We're going to do our PM circle time. We're going to start packing up, and then we're waiting for our parents to come and pick us up, because after circle time, we just go into free play while they're waiting for their parents. So the song that we sing goes, we had a good day. We had a good day. We had a good day. We had a good day today. And then we say, who had a fun day at school today? And they'll usually cheer and we'll clap. And I'll say, you guys ready for your mommies and daddies to come? And they'll say yes. And I'm like, all right, let's review what we learned today. And I have some review flashcards. And I have shape ones. And I have color ones. Now, sometimes we do both. Sometimes we only do one, but usually what I will do is I'll hold them up and they'll tell me what color they are. So we'll say blue, brown, white, red, just super fast. We'll do our shapes. And then we do word of the day. The kids love word of the day. I have made my own word of the day cards. So these are our January ones. So they are all winter themed. And so I'll hold up our word of the day and I'll say, does anyone know what this is? And then, you know, if someone knows, they'll say it's a shovel, and we'll say, what do we use it for? And we just kind of talk about the word. So we'll talk about the snow, we'll talk about shoveling our driveways, our pathways, we'll talk about who in your family shovels. And I'll say, do you have a shovel at your house? What color is your shovel at your house? Just really engages a really good conversation. So that is our word of the day. Some of my other word of the day cards for January. We have mittens and a hat. Now with my word of the day cards, I do like to use real pictures so that they can get real world pictures as we talk about them. So here's hot chocolate, snowman, socks, books, winter, car seat, fireplace, blanket, coat, penguin, sledding, polar bear, snow. And if we get through the stack, we just kind of start the words over again until we get to the next month, where then we have all new word of day cards. The next thing that we do for PM Circle is we do our music and movement. So every month we have a song list. And so this is our songs for January this year. And so we will pick out 2 to 3. Since I have preschoolers this year, I'll usually let them come up. Because as we are singing these songs every day, they kind of memorize and they know exactly which songs are which. And so I'll be like, which one you want to sing? And they'll point to them and we'll sing that song, and I'll pick someone else and they'll come up and point to that one. We'll sing that one. So we usually do 2 to 3 music and movement songs. And then after that, with my preschoolers, we do a question of the day. My toddlers do not do the question of the day. I will ask them, you know, if they want to answer the question, they can give like a thumbs up or thumbs down for yes and no questions, but they don't come up and do the question of the day. But for my preschoolers, you know, I will hold up. It's just a pocket chart that sits on our floor. And so I'll say, okay, did you stay up on New Year's Eve? And then this is a yes or no question. And they have a card with their names on them, and they'll get their card and they'll come up and they'll answer, you know, the question. So this is too old for my toddlers, but this is something that my preschoolers really do enjoy. But in previous years, when I just had toddlers, we didn't do question of the day. We just did word of the day. So that's it. That's our PM Circle. How we end it is I give everybody a high five. They love this part. So I'll just go around and I'll give everyone a high five and we'll say good day, good day, good day, and give everybody a high five. And then they go off and they free play. I pack up all their stuff. And then as their parents start to come, they go home. So that is how I do my circle times in my daycare. If you guys are interested in any of the printables that I showed you, I do have all of these packs available on my TPT website. I will link those below. And I would love to hear ways that you engage the kids during circle time. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.